This is the Charles Cook Podcast, where lovers of liberty and individual rights in Tennessee go to get information, focusing on state and local issues from Bristol to Memphis, discussing the important issues with facts, truths, and opinions based on constitutional principles. Remember, we stimulate, but never indoctrinate your mind. Welcome to the Charles Cook Podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back for another podcast. I'm sure everybody has survived the weekend and has come to grips with the election a little bit. Some people are a little down, understandable, especially if your candidate was in and, if was running and you donated or helped out in the campaign. It can take a toll on you. Trust me, I know. And so I want to talk about this a little bit and bring people back to reality because, elections, for the most part, are not the end of the world, but it gives us a chance to fight another day. So what we always have to remember is this: you win some and you lose some. If you're going to deal in this arena any at all, you got to come to grips with that. You're not going to win every election. Chances are you may lose more than you win. But in this fight for liberty, that's what we have to remember, and we have to stay engaged and stay in the fight and don't get beat down every time you lose an election. Even the best run campaigns lose sometimes. And look, the bigger the campaigns, the more people get involved in these things, and it can they know what they're doing, and it's not always you don't always win. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, and that's just the way it is, and you have to come to grips with it. And but we also have to be smart. I always say the day after the election is evaluation day. So it's time to stop, sit down, reflect, think about, analyze, think about it, win or lose. Either way, you have to do it. If you're going to be successful at this at all, you have to do it. What did we do well? What did we do wrong? What did they do well? And what did they do wrong? I mean, you always have to look at this on both sides. And, sometimes we have to look and say, we have bad candidates. And, you say, well, I'm not associated with a bad candidate. Well, maybe you were, and you just didn't want to admit it. There were some bad candidates. I'm not saying they're bad people with bad ideals, but when it came to running for office, they were actually bad candidates that hurt the grassroots movement from getting behind other people and doing things. Sometimes the incumbents that you support, I'll just be honest with you, they're lazy. And they end up costing the people in the grassroots movement because they don't want to get out and work. And I've seen this before, even on the local levels. And so I'll explain a little bit. So when I'm talking about bad candidates, let's take someone who maybe hasn't ran for office before, and they talk all this stuff and they've got a good ideals. But when it comes to campaign season and running a campaign, they choose to take a long vacation. Okay. So they're not even in the state or even the country. Some, that's just the facts. A candidate who's really wanting to work a campaign and put everything he got into it will make sure that they're on the ground working throughout that campaign. They will not go on vacation during the election season and the campaign season. If they do that, they're hurting the people that they're asking for votes, for support, their volunteers, and their money. Why should you get behind a candidate and work for them or support them or donate money to them if they are choosing to go on vacation and not be out earning it? That may sound rough, but that's just the facts of the matter. Don't donate your money if you've got a candidate that's willing to do that. If they're not out able, if they're not out seeking donations, if they're not out knocking on doors, they're on vacation. They can't be doing that. So if they're not doing those things, don't get wrapped up in them. Yeah, they may say the good things and everything, but you can't get involved with a candidate like that. What do I mean about incumbent candidates that are lazy? Well, they're in office and they're not out knocking on doors. They think everybody knows them and all the great things that they've done. And so they'll have a little fundraiser party here, a little meet and greet here, but they don't get out and knock on doors. They don't spend money. Look, we know when we have good incumbents, people who vote right, that there's going to be negative ads and stuff run against them. They have to respond to those ads. They have to. They cannot allow these people to continuously run attack ads on them and not respond. They get lazy. They don't want to do it. It's just the way they are. Doesn't make them bad because they've done good things. They've been our champions on many issues, but they just either they're like, okay, I'm ready to get this over. Just go ahead and put me out of my misery, or I think I can win this. Nobody takes this guy serious, and blah, blah, blah. Well, and then till it's over with, and then the next thing you know, they've lost. I saw it on the local level. Guy, friend of, guy I become friends with. He took out a guy on the county commission that had been there for a long time, long time. He'd been there for 44 years. I was 46-year-old when this election took place. So all but 2 years of my life, this guy had been on the county commission. Guy took him out, beat him, got in there. He knew the establishment was going to come after him, running for re-election. I don't know what happened, but he didn't get out and campaign, didn't get out and defend his record or anything. He got slaughtered in the next election. You got to get out and face the voters. Didn't matter how long you've been in there. And this is the thing. I believe everybody in office should be primary. You may not like that, but that's just the facts. If they don't, they get complacent. I think everything they're doing is okay. Even if they make a bad vote and they don't hear nothing about it, they think everything's fine. So I just think they all should be primary, but they should all have to get out and be forced to come face to face with the voters again and hear from the voters. And a lot of these incumbents don't want to do that. They don't want to get out and knock on doors. They think I'll just spend all this money and I'm good. And most of them won't even spend the money. I just think everybody likes me. I've been here for 20 years now. Nobody's going to vote against me. Nobody's going to support that guy. And then they find out election night, they don't have a job anymore. So, challengers are lazy as well. You have, I interviewed a guy 2 years ago who had won a state representative position. And he made it clear that his biggest beef was with the state senator from his district and that he would probably run against him. And that's exactly what he did this time, except for the state senator didn't run for reelection. And so the guy just, I don't know if he just thought he'd mail it in or what, or since the guy wasn't there no more, he just wasn't going to put the effort into it. So he left a good position as a state representative for run for state senate and got slaughtered. You know, basically left people in the grassroots movement that was out supporting him, left them hanging out to dry. He didn't get out and work, didn't put much effort into it. And the folks are sitting there election night shaking their head saying, how did this happen? Well, it happened because he didn't want to get in there and work for it. So these kind of people are bad for the grassroots movement. When they don't get out there and work the way they should, when they say they represent the grassroots movement and the establishment is coming after them, and they don't want to work and represent the grassroots, then in the end, when you have election night results like we seen with some of these candidates that the grassroots was supporting, it's demoralizing to the grassroots movement. And basically, a lot of it is at the fault of the candidates because they didn't want to get out and work. They didn't want to earn the spot and put the effort into it to help get over the finish line and win it. Like I said, you're not going to win every election, but it's a difference in who gets in there, who works, and who doesn't. So, and then we have to look at the amount of money from coming into Tennessee from out of the state. Um, if you look, I want to share this here. Hopefully, I can share the screen here, and you'll be able to see the. Let's see. Oh, let's see. All right. So hopefully you can see that right there. Okay, this is PAC money that was spent in support of school voucher candidates. Okay, so we have Lee Reeves out of House District 65. Over $900,000 was spent in support of him, and I do believe that he won. You also had Senator John Lundberg, who had nearly $900,000 spent in support of him by these people supporting, the governor. And we'll talk about this here in a minute, that were actually out supporting these people, spending all this money trying to help the governor's candidates win and even go against longtime incumbents that were there. So, so you have Lee Reeves, John Lundberg, $900,000 there. Not over 900 for Lee Reeves, who was running for office. He wasn't in office. John Lundberg was defending his seat. Aaron McBurry, $778,000. Jesse Seals. Jesse Seal was running against Senator Frank Nicely, and they made Frank Nicely. They got on there and called him a liberal, said he supported illegal immigration and all this and that. And keep in mind, this is money that was spent as of July 22nd. Okay. So they spent upwards of $700,000 in a state Senate race to go after Frank Nicely. Frank Nicely lost. Okay. So you see Jason Emert, $627,000. Tom Hatchard, $546,000. Farrell Hale, the governor is out campaigning for him and everything else. They spent $536,000, almost $537,000 in just, by July the 22nd, and so on, as you see here. But who was these PACs? Well, Americans for Prosperity. Okay. These are the people who will tell you they're conservative. They believe in conservative values. Let me remind you, these are the people that was pushing Nikki Haley. Okay. Uh, so they're out here helping spend this money on these candidates, working against some good, true conservatives, and supporting people like John Lundberg. John Lundberg is the polar opposite of what Frank Nicely is, but they were supporting him because of school vouchers. Okay. So the School Freedom Fund, this money is coming from outside the state, from Washington, D.C. And, you just need to look up these places and see, hey, Americans for Prosperity is nothing to do with conservatism. They have what they want, what they want to push, and whether it's conservative or not, they will do everything they can do to try to get that through. It's just like this single issue here. This is a single issue school voucher deal, and they take and primary and work against somebody like Frank Nicely or Chris Spencer, who was running against Farrell Hale, and all those folks. This is the kind of people that you have. Kind of organizations and PACs working against the people that we have good conservatives here. Okay. It's nothing about being conservative. It's all about getting their agenda done. It's, these single issues that these people push. It's, you may have somebody who may not be the best on guns, but man, when it comes to abortion and other things, they're rock solid. But a gun group will come after them. Uh, you know, that's their prerogative to do that. If I'm running a gun organization and somebody's voting against me, that's we're going to have to go after them. But I would just want you to know this is the results of it. This is the kind of money that will be spent by places like Americans for Prosperity and, on a bad school voucher bill. It's not that these people don't support school vouchers and or school choice or parents' rights. It's a bad bill. It was a bad bill. And that's why they're upset, because they don't care if it's a bad bill. They have something that they want to accomplish. They want to be able to walk away and say, we got school vouchers, school choice passed in Tennessee. Look what we did. We're the AFP. We pushed this. This is a huge win. It's all money raising for them, because then the rich people will open up their wallets for them and say, oh, you done a good job. Here's you $2 million to help fund your Americans for Prosperity PAC. That's just what they do. It's all, in the end, it's all about money. So they get involved with that. So I'll just stop sharing that and come back to this, and hopefully you all seen that very well and understand. So again, as I said, a lot of money being spent in this election, and money doesn't always win things. You got to have candidates who are willing to get out and work their tails off for people. If you don't have time to run a campaign, don't run. Let someone else get behind someone else. Find someone else to run who can do it. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was thinking about running for an office, and I didn't have time. I was too busy. I work a full-time job. I'm involved in my church. I've got two sons that I, love and adore. I've got a wife, and I just don't have time to do it. So I didn't run because I knew I prayed about it, and I had other people praying about it, and I knew I just didn't have time to put the effort into it to win the campaign, to win the election. And if you do that and you don't get out here and bust your chops, bust your tail to win them, then you're actually, it's not good. You are demoralizing the people who support you because you put a half effort into it and didn't get the job done. If you put everything you can into it and you lose, then you put everything you had into it. You did the best that you can do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've been there. And there's people who ran this time that was that way. You just, it's an election that you just couldn't win, but you gave it a great shot. But there's some that made a half effort, some of them not half effort. In the end, we come down to it, and the grassroots was demoralized and are wondering what's next. But we're going to get through this, and we keep fighting. We'll come out better on the other side. You learn from these things, learn from your mistakes, learn from what you did right, what you did wrong. And as I said, you learn from what they did right and what they did wrong. In the end, it's not always about money. Okay. So that's my spiel on the election results. I think we got in 2 years, we'll have some more come up, and we got to go after them. But we as grassroots have to be focused on what we're doing. We cannot be sidetracked on these things. Many of us in the grassroots movement right now are focused on things that we shouldn't be focused on. We got to get through this and finish what we're doing. But we can't allow this to happen no more. It's on us to get involved, make sure we are focused in the election season, and get the job done. Let's get in there and help these candidates, volunteer, donations, whatever, and get the job done. Okay. All right. With that, thank you for listening to me. Share this information if you think it's helpful. Got any questions? You can email me, charlescookpodcast@gmail.com. Be happy to hear from you. If you got a show idea, let me know, and we'll try to get you on or look at the ideal anyway. All right. Have a great evening. We'll see you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.